Got another season preview for you guys today, as today we're going to be looking at the Detroit Tigers. No real intro needed, let's get right into the video. Last season, a lot of people were expecting the Tigers to take a leap forward, and they flopped. Coming off a 2021 season in which they finished with 77 wins and with prospects on the way, there was optimism, but that didn't go as planned. They finished out the season with 66 wins and were all around one of baseball's most disappointing teams. And being a disappointment is nothing new for Tigers fans. In fact, the last time they've made the playoffs was 2014. Now, as for this offseason, they've made a couple minor moves. They've picked up players like Michael Lorenzen, Matt Vierling, and Nick Maton. But they've also lost a couple names in Heimer Candelario, Gregory Soto, Tucker Barnhart, and Andrew Chafin, who is currently a free agent. So really, nothing crazy has gone on this offseason, at least up to this point for the Tigers. Now let's look at their offense. They probably had the worst offense in baseball last season, as they had a .632 team OPS, which ranked 29th, and 110 home runs, which was far and away the worst. Now looking at the projected lineup, we have to start with Javier Baez, who last season hit .238 with 17 home runs and 9 stolen bases. I think up to this point, even after a down 2022 season, Baez is still considered the best offensive bat on this team, and if the Tigers are going to have any sort of bounce back, Baez is going to have to be a key piece of it. They also have Spencer Torkelson, who last year had an awful rookie season as he only hit .208 with 3 home runs. 2023 is going to be a huge season for Torkelson. A lot of people are going to start to call him a bust if he doesn't play well, but if he does play well, he's going to be a really promising player in the future for Detroit. They also have Jonathan Schoop over at second base, who last year only hit .202 with 11 home runs. One underrated bat in this lineup is Eric Haas. Last year, he hit .254 with 14 home runs and a .748 OPS. They also have the veteran in Miguel Cabrera, who last year only hit .254 with 5 home runs, but I think he is going to get some at-bats here and there. Another former top prospect in this lineup is Riley Green. Last year, he hit .253 with 5 home runs. I'm a big fan of Riley Green. I think he's going to have a huge 2023 season and show why he was the former #1 prospect in baseball. And we can't forget about Austin Meadows, who last year didn't play too much. He only hit .250 with a .675 OPS, but if he's on the field this year, I think he could be a pretty solid bat in this lineup. Another outfielder who could see some at-bats is Matt Vierling, who they picked up from the Phillies in the Gregory Soto deal. Last year, Vierling hit .246 with 6 home runs and 7 stolen bases. And a couple other bats who could see some at-bats every now and then are Nick Maton, Akil Baddoo, and Kerry Carpenter. And I also want to make note of one prospect who could have an impact on this team offensively in Jace Young. He's the number 83 prospect in baseball. He's a second baseman, and I'm not sure if he's going to get the call to the big leagues, but if the Tigers do struggle, I wouldn't be surprised to see him get called up either. So if you couldn't tell by now, I'm not a huge fan of this offense. Yes, they do have a couple players who could bounce back and play much better this season, but still, I think they're going to be a bottom 5 offense. Now getting onto their pitching, it was better than their offense last season, as they had a 4.04 team ERA, which ranked 21st. But for this starting rotation, they're going to be without a couple of their best starting pitchers in Tarik Skubal and Casey Mize, who are going to be out for a big chunk of the season. So it looks like Eduardo Rodriguez will be the team's ace. Last year, in 91 innings, he posted a 4.05 ERA. They also picked up Michael Lorenzen from the Angels, who last year in 98 innings posted a 4.24 ERA. Another underrated but good arm in this rotation is Matt Manning. Last year in 63 innings, he posted a 3.43 ERA. As for the back end of this rotation, there are lots of question marks surrounding who's actually going to get those spots, but I think Bo Bresky is a good candidate. Last year in 82 innings, he had a 4.19 ERA. As for the 5th spot in the rotation, I think it could go either between Joey Wentz, Spencer Turnbull, or Tyler Alexander. So for this starting rotation, if they did have Casey Mize and Tarik Skubal, I would say they could be top half in baseball, but without them, I don't think they're going to crack the top 20. Now getting onto their bullpen, this was their clear strength last season, as they had a 3.45 bullpen ERA, which ranked 8th. But looking ahead into this season, we have to consider the fact that they traded away their closer in Gregory Soto to the Angels. So heading into this season, they really don't have a set-in-stone closer, but I think it's going to go to Alex Lange, who last season had a 3.41 ERA to go along with 82 strikeouts. Another important arm in this bullpen who could potentially see some 9th inning work is Jose Cisnero. Apologies if I don't pronounce that right, I'm not good with names, but last year he was good, as he had a 1.08 ERA. A couple other players who I think could be important pieces to this bullpen are Jason Foley, Will Vest, and Garrett Hill. So for this bullpen, I hate to say it, but I think losing Gregory Soto is going to have a huge impact. I think this bullpen is probably going to be right around 20th in baseball. And I also want to mention the fact that the Tigers do have 2 top 100 pitching prospects in Jackson Jobe and Wilmer Flores who could see the big leagues this year. So now that we went over this roster as a whole, let's look at their 2023 outlook record-wise. I would love to say that the Tigers are going to rebound off of last season and be much better, but with this roster, I just don't think that's the case. If Tarek Skubal comes back midseason and pitches well, and Spencer Torkelson and Riley Green play up to par, I think they could potentially win 70 games, but realistically, I think they're going to be right around 65. I want the Tigers to be good. I think their fan base deserves it. It's been so long since they've actually had a respectable team, but this year I just don't think it's their year. Let me know what you guys think of the Tigers down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.